Did you know that right now, in the very hallways you walk through every day, there are stories you've never heard? Stories of struggle, determination, and incredible strength. Today, I want to tell you one of those stories. It's about a student named Leo, and his classroom wasn't just a place for learning, it was his lifeline. Leo wasn't like most of his classmates. While they rushed home after the final bell, his day was just getting started. He'd swap his textbooks for a mop and bucket. You see, Leo's family couldn't afford his school fees, but giving up on his education, that was never an option. So, he made a deal with the principal. He would clean the entire school, every classroom, every hallway, the cafeteria in exchange for his tuition. Imagine that for a moment. The sun would set, casting long shadows across the empty basketball court, and the school would fall silent. But not for Leo. The squeak of his mop against the tiled floor, the clatter of desks being straightened, that was the soundtrack of his evenings. His classmates would come in the next morning to spotless floors and tidy rooms, never knowing the sacrifice that went into it. Some nights were harder than others. He'd be exhausted from a long day of classes and a pop quiz in calculus, his muscles aching. He'd look out the window at the city lights and see his friends' social media posts about movies or parties. A pang of loneliness would hit him. It was isolating, being the ghost who cleaned the school. He felt invisible. Sometimes, he'd sit at a desk in an empty classroom, his head in his hands, wondering if it was all worth it. The temptation to just walk away was immense. But then, he'd open a textbook left on a desk. He'd trace the diagrams in a science book, or read a line from a literature classic. He would remember why he was there. He wasn't just mopping floors. He was paving his own path, one clean tile at a time. This school wasn't just a building. It was his ticket to a different future, a future he was building with his own 2 hands. One evening, Mrs. Davison, his English teacher, was working late. She found Leo in the library, carefully wiping down each shelf. She had always noticed how sharp and insightful he was in class, but she had no idea about his after-school job. She saw the weariness in his eyes, but also a fire of determination that couldn't be extinguished. They started talking, not as teacher and student, but as 2 people. He told her about his dreams of becoming an engineer, of building bridges that connect people. Mrs. Davison was deeply moved. The next day, she spoke to other teachers. They had all seen Leo's potential but never knew his burden. They started a small fund, pooling their own money to help him. They'd leave snacks for him in the staff room, or offer to tutor him after his cleaning duties. A small act of kindness created a ripple effect. Soon, a few students found out and started staying late, not to party, but to help Leo clean. They'd put on music and turn the chore into a team effort. Suddenly, Leo wasn't invisible anymore. He was seen. He was supported. The lonely nights were replaced with friendship and shared purpose. His burden felt lighter, not because the work disappeared, but because he no longer carried it alone. He learned that asking for help wasn't a sign of weakness, but a bridge to connection. Leo eventually graduated at the top of his class. The day he walked across that stage to receive his diploma, the loudest cheers came from a small group of teachers and students in the audience. They weren't just cheering for a graduate. They were cheering for the boy who taught them that the most important lessons aren't always found in textbooks. They are found in perseverance, in community, and in the quiet dignity of hard work. Leo's story is a powerful reminder that behind every face, there's a battle being fought. It challenges us to look beyond the surface, to be a little kinder, and to notice the invisible people around us. Everyone is going through something, and a little bit of compassion can change a life. Have you ever felt like Leo? Have you ever had to work twice as hard just to get to the same starting line as everyone else? Share your story in the comments below. Let's create a community where no one feels invisible. And if you were moved by Leo's journey, make sure to subscribe to Beyond the Classroom. We share inspiring stories like this every week, and you won't want to miss what's next. Thank you for watching.